Have you ever felt like everything in your life is falling apart? Like no matter what you do, doors keep closing, people let you down, and your plans crumble? What if I told you that this feeling of falling is not the end, it's the beginning? That every heartbreak, every loss, every lonely night, and every restless moment is actually a sign that Allah is preparing you to rise higher than you've ever imagined? Ibn Arabi, the great Sufi master, teaches that sometimes Allah lets you fall. Not to punish you, but to shape your destiny, to awaken your heart, and to guide you toward the life you were always meant to live. Today, I'm going to show you 7 unmistakable signs that your fall is actually your rise, and how to recognize them so you can embrace the path Allah has written for you. Your life suddenly feels out of control. When Allah allows you to fall, the first sign is that life suddenly stops responding to your plans. No matter how hard you try, something feels blocked. The path that once felt smooth becomes heavy. The people who once supported you grow distant. Opportunities that looked promising fall apart without warning. You start questioning yourself, wondering what changed, wondering why nothing is working the way it used to. But in Sufi wisdom, this moment is not a mistake. Ibn Arabi teaches that before Allah elevates a person, He removes the illusions they have been living inside. What you think is chaos is actually a divine reordering. What you think is failure is a redirection. Allah is not punishing you. He is breaking your attachment to a life that could never take you where He wants you to be. When everything falls apart at the same time, it is not a sign that you are losing control. It is a sign that Allah is taking control. He is interrupting your plans so He can guide you towards something better. The instability you feel is simply the first stage of transformation. You are being pulled away from what you were never meant to remain connected to. The fall is not the end. It is the beginning of your rise. You lose things you thought were permanent. The second sign that Allah is preparing you to rise is the experience of losing something you believed would stay with you forever. It might be a relationship you trusted, a job you depended on, a dream you gave years of your life to, or a plan you were certain would define your future. When these things slip away, it can feel like the ground beneath you has opened. You question why Allah would take something you valued so deeply. But Ibn Arabi teaches that loss is never empty. It is a container Allah builds so that something greater can be poured into your life. What you call loss, Allah calls preparation. What feels like the end is often the clearing before a new beginning. You are not being abandoned, you are being relocated. When something leaves your hands, it is because it was too small for the destiny Allah is shaping for you. Sometimes the only way for Allah to give you more is to remove what is limiting your growth. The heartbreak, the disappointment, the sudden changes, they are not random, they are divine precision. Life is being rearranged on your behalf, even if it feels painful in the moment. The space created by loss is not meant to stay empty. It is meant to be filled with something written for you long before you were born. Losing what you thought was permanent is not a sign you are falling. It is a sign you are being guided to what was permanent all along. You feel deep loneliness, even around people. One of the strongest signs that Allah is preparing you to rise is a sudden, unexplained loneliness. Even when you sit among friends, family, or a crowd, something inside you feels distant and disconnected. You find yourself withdrawing from conversations that once excited you. The noise around you starts to feel meaningless. This loneliness is not a punishment, nor is it a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a spiritual signal that Allah is isolating your heart so it can hear what it could never hear before. Ibn Arabi teaches that the journey of transformation often begins in silence, because in silence the soul finally becomes aware of what it truly needs. When Allah wants to speak to you directly, He removes the distractions you once relied on. People who used to comfort you no longer feel the same. Activities that used to fill your time lose their pleasure. You feel a pull inward, a desire for stillness. This is not emptiness, it is preparation. Your heart is being cleaned of attachments that were drowning out your inner voice. Loneliness becomes the space where clarity arrives. It is in this stage that many people discover their purpose, heal their wounds, and find the courage to walk a path they never imagined. What feels like isolation is actually divine companionship. Allah distances you from the world not to leave you alone, but to bring you closer to Him. Your old self no longer fits you. Another powerful sign that Allah is preparing you to rise is the feeling that you have outgrown the person you used to be. You begin noticing subtle shifts inside yourself. The habits that once defined your routine no longer satisfy you. The conversations you used to enjoy now feel shallow or draining. The people you surrounded yourself with start to feel distant, not because they changed, but because you are changing. It feels as if an inner transformation is happening quietly, without permission, without warning, without any clear reason. This shift can be confusing and uncomfortable because you feel caught between two versions of yourself, the person you used to be and the person you are becoming. In Sufi understanding, this is the stage where the soul begins to shed its old layers. Ibn Arabi teaches that growth often begins with an internal discomfort, a sense that the life you are living no longer aligns with your deeper truth. What you interpret as restlessness is actually your soul rebelling against a smaller version of itself. Allah is awakening something within you that you may not yet fully recognize. You feel drawn to reflection. You crave meaning. You find yourself questioning your purpose, your direction, your values. This questioning is not a crisis, it is guidance. It is a sign that Allah is pulling you away from an identity that no longer serves your future. You may notice that the desires you once had are fading. The goals you were chasing lose their shine. You start seeing through illusions you once believed were important. This detachment can feel like losing yourself. But in truth, you are losing only the version of you that was built from fear, imitation, or survival. A deeper, truer version of you is emerging. The emptiness you feel is not something missing. It is space being created. The confusion you feel is not a mistake. It is the beginning of clarity. Your soul is being rewired for a new level of existence. During this phase, you may even feel guilty for changing. You may feel like you are drifting away from people or routines that once shaped your identity. But this is part of divine transformation. Not everyone is meant to walk with you into the next stage of your life. Not every habit or dream is meant to survive your spiritual growth. Allah removes what cannot travel with you so that you are not held back by what is too small for the destiny He is preparing. This shift is one of the most important stages of rising because it means Allah is making you ready for something higher. You are not becoming distant. You are becoming aligned. You are not losing passion. You are discovering true purpose. The old self must break so the new self can breathe. And when this transformation is complete, you realize that everything you released was preparing you to step into the life that was written for you long before you understood who you truly were. Your heart is restless, even when nothing is wrong. One of the clearest signs that Allah is preparing you for a higher state is the quiet, persistent restlessness that settles inside your heart. It does not come from stress, and it does not come from problems. In fact, everything around you may look perfectly normal. Life may appear stable on the outside, yet something inside you refuses to settle. You feel a tug, a pull, a gentle discomfort that you cannot explain. It feels like an invisible hand is trying to guide you, but you do not know where. This restlessness often appears at the exact moment when you think you should feel content, and that is the first indication that this feeling is not from the world, it is from Allah. In Sufi understanding, restlessness is not confusion. It is communication. Ibn Arabi teaches that when Allah wants to redirect your soul, He begins by unsettling the heart, not to disturb you, but to awaken you. The heart, when left in one place too long, begins to forget its purpose. So Allah creates a soft friction within you, a sense that something is calling you beyond your current life. This call is not loud. It does not shout, it whispers. It urges you to question yourself. It makes you reflect on the life you are creating, the habits you are practicing, the direction you are walking in. You find yourself thinking about things you never thought about before. You wonder if there is more you should be doing, more you should be seeking, more you should be becoming. Your soul becomes thirsty, not for worldly satisfaction, but for meaning. Ordinary routines feel shallow, repeated patterns feel empty. You begin to sense that you were created for something more than the life you are currently living. This is not dissatisfaction with life, it is the soul preparing for expansion. It is Allah reminding you that you have not reached your destination. This restlessness can feel uncomfortable, even confusing, because you cannot point to a clear reason for it. People around you may not understand. They might ask why you seem distant or thoughtful. They may think something is wrong. But nothing is wrong. Something is awakening. Your heart is being prepared for a new chapter, one that requires a deeper version of you. Growth always begins with discomfort. A seed breaks before it rises. A heart is stirred before it transforms. At times, the feeling may intensify. You may feel unable to enjoy the things you once enjoyed. You might lose interest in distractions, entertainment, or habits that once consumed your time. You might feel drawn toward knowledge, reflection, silence, or seeking Allah more sincerely. These are all signs of spiritual migration. Your soul is moving, even if your body is standing still. Allah creates this inner pull because He knows that if your heart became too comfortable where it is, you would never take the steps toward where you are meant to be. Restlessness is His way of telling you, gently but firmly, that your present level is no longer enough for your soul. It is the first spark of change, the beginning of transformation, the early stage of a journey you may not fully understand yet. The most beautiful part of this sign is that it is personalized. No one else can feel it but you. No one else can interpret it for you. It is a private conversation between your heart and your Creator. And once this restlessness begins, it rarely disappears until you move toward the path Allah is guiding you to. It pushes you not to settle for a life that does not match your purpose. It prepares you to walk away from things that weaken your spirit, and it strengthens your courage to seek a life aligned with truth. This restlessness is not a sign that you are lost. It is a sign that your soul remembers its destination, even when your mind has not yet figured it out. And when you finally listen to it, you discover that every moment of discomfort was quietly shaping you for the rise Allah has planned for you. Tests become stronger and more frequent. Another powerful sign that Allah is preparing you for a rise is when the tests in your life become heavier, sharper, and more frequent. It feels as if the moment you catch your breath from one difficulty, another one begins. Problems overlap. Challenges appear from different directions. The people you relied on disappoint you. Your plans collapse. Your patience is stretched thin, and you find yourself asking, sometimes quietly and sometimes painfully, why is this happening all at once? Why does Allah keep testing me? Why does life feel so relentless? But in the depth of Sufi wisdom, this is not a sign of abandonment, it is a sign of elevation. Ibn Arabi teaches that Allah does not intensify a person's test unless He is preparing them to carry something greater than what they carried before. Just as the earth must be torn open for a seed to rise, the soul must undergo pressure for its hidden strength to awaken. A life without tests remains shallow. A heart without trials remains weak. A soul that has not been challenged cannot rise to the level Allah intends for it. This is why the tests come in waves. Each test reveals something in you that needs to be strengthened. One test builds patience. Another builds wisdom. Another develops resilience. One teaches forgiveness. Another teaches detachment. Another teaches surrender. You may think you are breaking, but in reality, you are being shaped. A sculptor chisels away at stone not to harm it, but to reveal the masterpiece inside. The hardships you face are not random blows. They are divine chisels, carving you into the person you are meant to become. In moments of hardship, it is easy to fall into self-doubt. You may think Allah is displeased with you, You may think you are being punished, but punishment pushes a person down, while divine tests push a person upward. The pressure you feel is a sign that you have outgrown your old spiritual level, and Allah is preparing you for a new one. The repeated challenges are not barriers, they are steps. Each test you pass lifts you higher, even if you do not feel the elevation immediately. Sometimes these tests come through people. Someone betrays you. Someone leaves when you needed them the most. Someone hurts you in a way you never expected. But even these painful encounters are part of the divine training. They strip you of dependence on creation so you can depend more on the Creator. Allah removes false supports so you can lean on the only support that never collapses. When people fail you one after another, it is a sign that Allah wants to become your refuge. Other times, the tests come through worldly struggles, financial worries, delays, closed doors, lost opportunities. But these too have a purpose. If every door opened easily, you would never discover the door Allah wrote specifically for you. If every plan succeeded, you would never learn to trust the one who writes your destiny. The struggle is not a blockage, it is guidance. It prevents you from walking into places that are not meant for you. And then there are the inward tests, the silent battles no one sees. The fear you hide, the sadness you carry, the doubts you fight, the fatigue that makes you feel like you have nothing left. These inner tests are the hardest because they are fought alone, but they are also the most transformative. When Allah strengthens the inside of a person, the outside of their life changes effortlessly. Every inner storm you survive becomes a source of light, wisdom, and strength that will serve you for years. What makes these tests unique is that they often come right before a breakthrough. Hardship peaks just before change arrives. Darkness deepens just before dawn. Many people give up at the exact moment Allah is about to open a door for them. They lose hope because they mistake pressure for punishment, not realizing it is preparation. The harder your test, the closer your rise. If you pay attention, you will notice something profound. Each test teaches you something you needed, but did not know how to learn. Each difficulty removes something harmful or unnecessary from your life. Each hardship makes you stronger, clearer, more sincere, more aware of Allah. This is why the tests intensify. You are being polished. You are being strengthened. You are being prepared for a level that requires spiritual muscles you are only now developing. So when life keeps testing you again and again, do not assume Allah is pushing you away. The truth is the opposite. Allah is drawing you nearer by removing the layers that hide your true potential. He sees strength in you that you have not seen yet. He sees growth in you that you have not stepped into yet. And He is preparing you to rise to a place your soul was created to reach. You start hearing the truth you've been avoiding. The seventh and final sign that Allah is preparing you to rise is subtle yet profound. The quiet awakening of truth in your heart. It begins with a whisper, a thought, a realization you cannot ignore. It may come through a verse you read, a conversation you overhear, a moment of stillness in the night, or simply through the inner voice of your soul. Suddenly, things you once overlooked, avoided, or denied begin to become clear. The illusions that shaped your life no longer satisfy you. You cannot pretend that everything is fine. The truths you ran from about yourself, your actions, your choices, and your purpose begin to speak to you in a way that is impossible to silence. Ibn Arabi teaches that the soul is a mirror, and when Allah decides it is ready, the mirror is cleaned. It reflects reality, and what you see cannot be ignored. What you once avoided because it was uncomfortable is now unavoidable because it is necessary. This awakening is often accompanied by discomfort. The truths you hear are not always flattering. They can be difficult to accept because they challenge everything you thought you knew about yourself and the world. You may feel shame, regret, or fear. You may question why you ignored these truths for so long. But this process is essential for your rise. Allah removes the veils of self-deception not to punish you, but to free you. When the heart begins to see clearly, it is prepared to walk the path it was always meant to follow. The moment you acknowledge these truths, you step closer to the person Allah intended you to become. The truth does not hurt to destroy you, it hurts to reshape you. You may notice that life begins to feel different after this awakening. Decisions that once seemed confusing now have clarity. Choices that once felt heavy suddenly feel lighter. The path forward, though not always easy, feels aligned with your soul's deepest longings. The truth acts as a compass. It points you toward what is real, what is meaningful, what is lasting. And as you follow this compass, you begin to understand why you had to fall, why you had to feel lost, why you had to endure tests, loneliness, and inner unrest. Every trial, every moment of confusion, every heartbreak, every difficulty, all of it was preparing you to hear this truth and act upon it. Sometimes, this awakening also comes through guidance from others. A mentor, a book, a sermon, or even a stranger may speak words that pierce through the noise in your mind. These are not coincidences. Ibn Arabi teaches that Allah arranges the world to bring the seeker exactly what they need at the moment their heart is ready. Every word, every encounter, every experience that reveals truth is part of a divine orchestration designed to awaken the soul. The more you listen, the more your heart aligns with the divine rhythm, and the more prepared you are for your rise. This stage is also about courage. The truth may ask you to let go of habits, relationships, or dreams that no longer serve your higher purpose. It may challenge you to face fears you've hidden from yourself. It may ask you to step into the unknown with faith rather than certainty. But every step you take in alignment with truth is a step closer to the rise Allah has prepared. Your soul learns that surrender is not weakness, but the ultimate form of strength. Accepting the truth is not a loss, it is liberation. By embracing what is real, you free yourself from illusions that have held you back for years. And in this process, you realize the beauty of Allah's wisdom. Every fall, every test, every lonely night, every moment of discomfort, all of it was to prepare you to recognize and embrace the truth. The truths you once avoided were always waiting for you, but you had to be ready. When you finally listen, your rise begins naturally. It does not come with force. It comes with clarity, purpose, and alignment. You understand that everything that happened to you was necessary for this awakening. Every hardship was a teacher. Every loss was a guide. Every restless night was a signal that your soul was waking up. This is the moment of transformation. The moment when the veil lifts and you see yourself, your life, and your purpose with eyes that no longer deceive. You understand that Allah never abandoned you. You understand that every fall was a step upward, every trial a lesson, every moment of confusion a preparation. You understand that your rise has been quietly unfolding all along. And when you act on this truth, your life begins to shift in ways you could never have imagined. You rise not because the world suddenly changes, but because you have changed. Your heart, now aligned with divine truth, becomes a magnet for the destiny Allah has always intended for you. And in this rise, every fall, every test, every moment of loneliness, every restless night, every loss, every inner battle, all of it makes perfect sense. You finally see the masterpiece Allah was creating within you all along. So now you know the truth. Every fall, every test, every lonely night, and every restless moment was never a punishment. It was Allah's way of preparing you to rise, to awaken, and to step into the life you were always meant to live. Ibn Arabi reminds us that the cracks in our hearts are not signs of weakness, they are openings for light, for guidance, and for transformation. Remember, your rise is already written. All you have to do is trust the process, embrace the lessons, and follow the signs Allah is showing you. Keep moving forward, stay patient, and let your heart be guided. Your fall was never the end, it was the beginning of something greater.